What if the life you were born into isn't the life you were meant to stay in? You didn't choose your starting line. You didn't choose your family's income, your neighborhood, or the limitations people placed on you before you could even speak. Okay. Maybe you were born into struggle, surrounded by hard choices, empty bank accounts, and people who told you to just be realistic. Maybe no one expected anything from you. Or worse, maybe they expected you to fail. That kind of beginning can make you feel invisible, like your dreams don't matter. Like success is something for other people, not for someone like you. But here's the truth. Being born poor is not your fault, but dying poor is your choice. That's a hard truth. It's not meant to hurt you. It's meant to wake you up. Because the moment you realize that your future doesn't have to look like your past, everything changes. The moment you stop blaming where you came from and start focusing on where you're going, that's when the shift begins. You are not stuck. You are not broken. You are not too late. Right now, inside you, there's potential greater than any circumstance you've ever faced. But potential is useless if it stays buried. You have to claim it. You have to choose it. And that choice begins the second you decide that your current situation is not the end of your story. Maybe life has beaten you down. Maybe you've failed more times than you can count. Maybe the world keeps reminding you of what you lack. But what if you stopped focusing on what you didn't have and started asking what you could become? What if you gave yourself permission to dream, to grow, to rise? This message is not for people who want easy answers. It's for those who are ready to stop settling. It's for those who are tired of surviving and finally ready to build a life that means something. And if you're still watching, that means there's a fire in you that hasn't gone out. No matter how small it feels right now, it's still burning. And that's all you need. Stay with this message, because the world will try to convince you that your dreams are too big, your past is too messy, and your odds are too low. But if you watch till the end, you'll discover something far more powerful than a story or a speech. You'll discover a mirror, a reflection of what's possible when someone refuses to be defined by where they started. You're not here by accident. You're here because something in you knows that there's more to live for, more to become, more to give. So take a deep breath, look at where you are, and understand this. You are allowed to begin again, right now. And no one, not your past, not your pain, not even your fear, can stop you unless you let it. If you've ever felt like you were meant for more, but something invisible keeps pulling you back, you're not alone. That feeling, that quiet frustration deep inside, isn't a weakness. It's the voice of your potential begging you to listen before it fades. Most people never answer that voice. Not because they don't want to, but because they've been trained to doubt it. From the time they were young, they were taught to shrink, to settle, to accept whatever life handed them. And over time, they started to believe that the limits around them were real. But limits are not walls. They're stories. And stories can be rewritten. The ones you've been told, "Oh, we're not smart enough. We're too late. But people like you don't succeed." Those are not your truth. They're someone else's fear projected onto your future. If you've accepted those stories for too long, this is your moment to reject them, because your life will always rise or fall to the level of the beliefs you hold. If you believe you're stuck, you'll stay stuck. You'll stay stuck. But if you believe you were built to rise, nothing can hold you down. It's not your job to explain your dreams to people who've given up on theirs. It's not your job to fit into a system that was never designed to see your greatness. It's your job to wake up, to look around and say, enough. Enough waiting. Enough playing small. Enough letting fear write the script of your life. The chains that hold you aren't made of steel. They're made of doubt. And the moment you choose courage over comfort, those chains begin to break. There's something dangerous about a person who decides to believe in themselves. They stop asking for permission. They stop apologizing for wanting more. They stop lowering their standards just to make other people feel comfortable. That's the version of you the world is waiting for. Not the version that plays it safe. The version that remembers who they are before the world told them who to be. And here's the truth most people never hear. You don't need to be special to succeed. You don't need to have money, status, or the perfect plan. What you need is fire, hunger, the willingness to do what most won't, to believe when it's easier to doubt, to act when it's safer to wait. Because transformation doesn't come to those who sit around hoping. It comes to those who move, who push, who fight, who keep showing up even when no one's watching. You were born into circumstances, but you were not born to be ruled by them. Life is not waiting to give you success. It's waiting for you to claim it. And that starts the moment you stop looking outside for a reason and start looking inside for a decision. And you've always had the power. Boom. The only question left is, will you use it? If you're waiting for the right moment, understand this, the right moment doesn't come. You make it. Most people spend their lives waiting for a sign, for clarity, for confidence. But that wait is a trap. Life rewards those who move, not those who hesitate. Action isn't just a tool, it's the cure. It silences doubt, it builds belief. It turns invisible dreams into visible progress. The longer you delay, the stronger your excuses become. But the second you take control, even in fear, everything begins to shift. Every excuse you've ever told yourself, every reason why now isn't the time, why you're not ready, why it's too hard. Those aren't facts. They're defense mechanisms. Psychological protection designed to keep you comfortable. But comfort doesn't build anything. Growth demands discomfort. It demands risk. It demands the courage to show up when nothing's promised. And the truth is, the people who succeed aren't always the most talented. They're the ones who moved anyway. If you want to change your life, don't chase motivation, build discipline. Motivation is a feeling. It fades. But discipline is a decision. Discipline shows up when you're tired, when you're stressed, when the world gives you every reason to quit. That's where real success is born, in the moments no one sees. In the quiet, lonely spaces where you choose to keep going, not because it's easy, but because you've decided you're worth the effort. You don't need to have everything figured out to take the first step. You just need to stop lying to yourself. Stop saying you'll start tomorrow. Stop pretending that someday is coming, because someday is a myth. And while you wait for it, life moves on. Time doesn't pause for potential. It rewards the person who acts. Even if they're scared, even if they're imperfect, even if they fail again and again. What separates the ones who rise from the ones who stay stuck isn't luck. It's decision. It's the willingness to look at your life and say, I'm not waiting anymore. That's how change begins. Not with massive leaps, but with simple daily choices. To train when it hurts. To create when no one claps. These small wins build something far more powerful than motivation. They build identity. And when you start seeing yourself as someone who follows through, everything changes. You stop negotiating with fear. You stop needing approval. You stop chasing perfection. You just move with clarity, with purpose, with the understanding that real power comes from within, not from your environment, not from your past, but from your relentless decision to keep going. You weren't put here to wish. You were put here to build, to rise, to lead. And the life you want isn't sitting on a shelf waiting to be handed to you. It's buried beneath every excuse you've believed. Dig it out. Claim it. The world doesn't owe you anything, but you owe yourself everything. The world will try to convince you that your value is measured by your results. That unless you've already made it, you don't matter. But that's a lie. You are not defined by your current circumstances. You are not the job you work, the money you have, or the place you come from. You are not the opinions others formed about you before you even knew who you were. Your value was never tied to your conditions. It's tied to your capacity to grow, to change, to create a life that reflects your vision, not your limitations. Too many people shrink themselves to fit into a reality they never chose. They keep their heads down. They make themselves small. And they convince themselves it's safer not to try than to risk failing. But you can't live a powerful life while pretending you're powerless. You can't keep telling yourself, I'm just being realistic, when what you really mean is I'm afraid to believe. Again, fear will always disguise itself as logic. But comfort zones don't protect you. They imprison you. And every time you let fear decide for you, you trade potential for regret. You were not born to just make it through. You were born to create something better. And that creation doesn't start in your environment. It starts in your identity. Because nothing in your life changes until you change the way you see yourself. Not as a victim of your story, but as the author of what comes next. Every time you show up for yourself, you make a statement. That your future matters more than your past, that your dreams are worth the fight, that you refuse to die with your potential still inside you. Because that's the real tragedy. Not living poor, but dying with wealth inside you that was never used. Wealth of ideas, wealth of courage, wealth of strength you never activated because you were too busy doubting your own power. No more waiting for proof. Be the proof. Show yourself what's possible when you stop holding back. Choose growth, even when it's hard. Choose faith, even when there's fear. Choose to believe that no matter how far behind you feel, you can still catch up, still rise, still win. Because it's not over. You are still breathing. You are still here. And that means you still have time. Everything can change, not in a year, not in a month, but in a single decision. The decision to stop settling. The decision to stop accepting the life you were handed and start building the life you want. You weren't meant to blend in. You weren't meant to stay quiet. You were meant to rise. And that rise begins the moment you stop asking if you're ready and start acting like you already are. You don't need to be perfect to begin. You don't need all the answers. You don't need permission. What you need is hunger, a quiet fire inside that refuses to go out, no matter how many times life tries to dim it. That fire is your power. Not the kind that makes noise, but the kind that endures. The kind that whispers, even in your worst moments, there's more. And I'm not giving up until I find it. That fire is the reason you're still here. And it's time you listen to it. There's a voice in your head that's been telling you to wait, to be realistic, to keep your head down until the time is right. But there is no perfect time. There's only now. And every time you choose safety over action, you bury another piece of yourself. The dreams don't go away. They just grow quiet. And over time, so do you. Not because you stopped caring, but because you stopped believing it was possible. But it is. And it always was. What you're chasing isn't out there. It's already inside you, waiting for you to step up and claim it. The world won't give you confidence. You build it every time you do the hard thing, every time you keep a promise to yourself, every time you stop running from the work. You don't become confident by talking about your goals. You become confident by earning your own respect. Show yourself that you can do hard things. Show yourself that you won't fold when it gets uncomfortable. Show yourself that when it matters most, you show up. You've waited long enough. You've hesitated, doubted, second-guessed. But what if this is the moment everything begins to change? Not because your circumstances magically shift, but because your mindset does. Because you finally stop thinking like a victim of your past and start thinking like the creator of your future. Because you finally decide that fear doesn't get to run your life anymore. Because you finally realize that no one is coming to save you. And that's the most powerful truth of all. Because now you know it's on you. And that means you can choose your direction, your effort, your energy, your focus. Your pain can be your excuse or your fuel. Your background can be your reason to give up or your reason to go harder. You decide what it all means. You decide what happens next. And if you've spent your whole life being underestimated, then good. Let them doubt you. Let them doubt you. Let them ignore you. Let them think you won't make it. Because when you rise, when you build, when you finally break through, it won't be to prove them wrong. It'll be to prove yourself right. And when that day comes, you'll know this truth in your bones. You were never waiting for permission. You were waiting for the courage to finally begin. The decision to rise will always cost you comfort. But staying where you are will cost you everything. You already know what it feels like to settle. You already know the weight of dreams left untouched, of days spent repeating the same cycles, hoping that somehow things will change without you changing. But deep down, you also know that no breakthrough happens by chance. It happens when you refuse to keep living a life that doesn't reflect who you truly are. It happens the moment you choose growth over excuses. Growth demands sacrifice. It asks you to let go of what's familiar, to walk away from people who keep you small, to break habits that numb your potential. It's not easy, but neither is staying stuck. Staying stuck hurts in silence. It eats away at your confidence, your energy, your belief in what's possible. And if you don't make a choice, life will make it for you. It will choose routine over reinvention, fear over courage, regret over purpose. You are not here to be a spectator in your own story. You are here to become the person your future needs. You don't have to change everything overnight, but you do have to start. Start by removing the distractions. Start by cutting off the lies you've told yourself for years. Start by looking in the mirror and being brutally honest about what you've been avoiding. The truth will sting, but it will also set you free. Free to build, free to rise, free to live without waiting for permission. Because nothing changes until you do. Your time is not infinite. You don't have years to waste proving that comfort is safer than risk. One day, the opportunity you keep postponing will be gone. One day, the voice inside you will go quiet. Not because it was wrong, but because you ignored it too long. Don't let that happen. Don't let this life pass by while you hide behind fear disguised as logic. This isn't about chasing perfection. It's about chasing purpose, living in alignment with who you know you can be. Discipline will get you further than talent ever could. Consistency will take you places motivation can't. You don't need more inspiration. You need more action. Show up tired. Show up afraid. Show up uncertain, but just show up over and over again. Because that's how you become unstoppable. Not by having it all figured out, but by refusing to quit when everything in you says to give up. The difference between who you are and who you want to be is found in the space between your intentions and your actions. Close that gap. Decide that enough is enough. Decide that your future is worth more than your fear. Decide that this is not just another moment to feel good. It's a turning point. And once you commit, really commit, there will be no going back. Only forward. Only higher. Only everything you were always meant to become. There is a version of you the world hasn't seen yet. A version buried beneath hesitation, fear, and distractions. A version not shaped by your past, but by your possibility. That version is not a fantasy. It's a decision. A decision to step into the unknown, to break the patterns that have kept you invisible, to stop asking who you're allowed to be, and start becoming who you were born to be. You don't find that version by wishing for it. You find it by becoming uncomfortable with comfort and hungry for more than survival. You are made to wake up every day, dreading the life you've built. You are made to settle into routines that drain you. You weren't made to shrink just to make others feel better. Every time you silence your ambition, you rob the world of the greatness inside you. And make no mistake, it is greatness. But it's not unlocked by waiting for approval. It's unlocked by action repeated with relentless focus. Not once, not twice, but again and again until discipline becomes your new identity. Nothing changes until you demand more of yourself. Not from guilt, not from shame, but from the deep knowing that you were built for more than just making it through. You are not here to survive life. You are here to shape it, to direct it, to create meaning out of every moment. That starts when you stop negotiating with fear. Fear will always try to sell you a smaller version of your life. It will dress up as reason, disguise itself as protection, and offer you comfort in exchange for your potential. But that's a deal you cannot afford to keep making. Your life is not the result of your intentions. It is the result of your standards. And the moment you raise them, the moment you decide that average is no longer acceptable, everything begins to change. Because you will rise or fall to the level you tolerate. If you tolerate procrastination, you'll stay behind. If you tolerate self-doubt, you'll keep playing small. But if you raise the standard, if you decide to become the kind of person who shows up no matter what, your reality will have no choice but to catch up. There is power in deciding who you are before the world reflects it. There is power in becoming before the results show. Whoa. Because you don't need external validation to confirm what you already know. You need action. Repeated, consistent, focused action that builds your future one decision at a time. Not for applause, not for recognition, but because you've made a promise to yourself, and this time, you're going to keep it. You've waited long enough. The old version of you might be comfortable, but comfort will never give you the life you're capable of. It's time to rise, to step fully into your potential. To stop looking at your limits and start seeing your power. Your transformation isn't out there. It begins the moment you finally say, without apology, I'm ready. Ready doesn't mean fearless. Ready means willing. Willing to move forward even when doubt screams louder than hope. Willing to show up even when nothing makes sense yet. Willing to trust the process when the progress feels invisible. That's what separates the ones who rise from the ones who repeat. Not perfect plans, not perfect timing, just a relentless willingness to begin and to keep going when most people stop. You don't have to feel strong to act strong. Strength is built by the action itself, not by waiting for the feeling to arrive. You've been through enough to know that wishing isn't working. You've tried silence. You've tried playing it safe. You've tried shrinking into what others expect. And still, that quiet voice inside keeps asking for more. That voice is your truth, and it's time you honored it. You were not born to blend in. You were not created to live a quiet life in the shadow of fear. You were made to break cycles, to challenge limits, to create impact. Not just for you, but for everyone who needs to see that rising is possible. When you move forward, you carry more than your own weight. You carry the possibility of those watching, those doubting, those hoping someone like them can make it. And if you've ever wondered if your effort matters, if your fight means anything, understand this. It does. Because the world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs more real ones. More people willing to rise with scars, willing to lead with truth, willing to build something meaningful out of nothing. It starts by choosing ownership over excuses. Your past may not be your fault, but your future is your responsibility. The moment you take ownership, you take power. Not blame, power. Power to change, power to grow, power to move forward without waiting for someone to save you. There's no rescue mission. You are the mission. You are the solution. You are the one who decides what happens next. Stop feeding your limitations. Stop repeating the same story of why it can't be done. Start rewriting the story of what happens when you stop holding back. Every day you stay stuck is a day your potential remains buried, and buried potential turns into regret. Not because you weren't capable, but because you didn't act when it mattered. Don't let that be your story. You don't rise when everything is ready. You rise when you decide it's time. And maybe that time is now. Maybe this is the moment where everything begins to shift, not because life made it easy, but because you finally made it non-negotiable. Decide to be the person who didn't give up. Decide to be the person who turned pain into power, fear into fuel, and doubt into discipline. The gap between who you are and who you could be is only crossed by action. And action starts now. No more delays. No more excuses. Just the decision to become everything you were meant to be. You have more inside you than you've ever let the world see. And not because you've been hiding, but because you've been unsure. Unsure if you were enough. Unsure if your voice mattered. Unsure if someone with your past, your pain, your setbacks could still build something powerful. But you don't need more certainty. You need more courage. Because courage doesn't wait for everything to be perfect. Courage decides that your future matters more than your fear. It stands in the middle of the unknown and moves anyway. It's easy to underestimate the power of a single choice. But every transformation begins with one. One moment when you stop lying to yourself. One moment when you decide to raise your standards. One moment when you finally say, I'm done settling. That one choice can break the cycle. That one choice can shift your identity. Because once you choose growth, you no longer see life the same way. You stop looking for easy. You start looking for what's worth it. And your future is worth it. The journey will test you. It will stretch you, break you, and ask more of you than you thought you could give. But that's not a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're transforming. Growth isn't supposed to feel safe. It's supposed to feel like everything familiar is falling away so something better can take its place. And the old version of you will fight to stay alive. It will beg you to go back, to shrink, to play small. But your job is to keep moving forward anyway. You don't need to match anyone's timeline. You don't need to fit anyone's mold. You need to become relentless about your own path. Relentless about building discipline. Relentless about protecting your energy. Relentless about showing up day after day with the belief that your effort will compound even when the results haven't shown up yet. Because they will. They always do. Well, for the ones who refuse to quit, there will be days when your progress feels invisible. Days when you question your worth, your vision, your ability to keep going. That's when you remind yourself why you started. Not for comfort, not for applause, but because something in you knew that settling was a slow death. You wanted more, and you were willing to fight for it. So fight. Even when it's quiet, even when no one believes in you, even when your mind tells you it's too late. Fight, because the cost of giving up is far greater than the pain of pushing through. You were not created to live at half capacity. You were not built to spend your life doubting your own strength. You are not here to fit in. You are here to rise, to stand out, and to leave a legacy of courage, not caution. The future isn't given, it's earned. And the fight you bring today decides the life you live tomorrow. So show up, stand tall, and keep going, because you're not done yet. Not even close. You may have been told that your background defines you, that where you come from limits where you can go. But the truth is far more liberating. Your past is not your prison. It's your platform. It's your platform. The walls built around you can be torn down, not with magic, but with relentless commitment to change. Every day you choose to act, to learn, to push beyond what feels safe, you chip away at those walls. You become the architect of a new reality, one that doesn't depend on where you started, but on where you're willing to go. This journey isn't easy. It demands a courage so fierce it scares you. It asks for patience when results seem distant, and for faith when every sign points to doubt. But courage isn't the absence of fear, it's feeling the fear and doing it anyway. The same goes for growth. It's not a smooth path, it's a grind. It's messy, uncomfortable, and often lonely. But those who choose this path learn something others never will. A true strength is forged in the fire of struggle, and transformation only happens when you refuse to quit. You have to understand that waiting for everything to be perfect will only keep you stuck. The perfect moment doesn't exist. There will always be reasons to delay, to hesitate, to say not now. But every moment you wait is a moment lost. Every excuse is a chain holding you back from the life you crave. It's time to break those chains. Time to stop waiting for validation, for clarity, for permission, for clarity, for permission. You don't need anyone's approval to start becoming the person who doesn't settle for less. Discipline is the bridge between your dreams and your reality. It's not glamorous, it's not exciting, but it's necessary. Discipline means doing the work even when you don't want to. It means showing up when the fire inside is low. It means keeping your promises to yourself, even if no one else notices. And when you build that discipline, you build a fortress around your future, one that fear cannot penetrate and doubt cannot dismantle. And remember, your worth is not measured by your bank account, your status, or your possessions. It is measured by your resilience, your mindset, and your willingness to rise each time life knocks you down. Richness begins in your mind. Poverty isn't just a lack of money, it's a lack of vision, a refusal to grow, a choice to remain small. You can be born with nothing, but if you accept the mindset of scarcity, you will die with nothing. If you choose growth, courage, and relentless action, you will create a legacy that no circumstance can erase. This is the moment to own your power, to reject the lie that you are limited by your past or your circumstances, to decide that no matter where you started, you will finish strong. Your future is a blank page waiting for you to write it with bold decisions, fierce commitment, and unshakable belief. The only question is, will you choose to write it, or will you let someone else write it for you? The choice is yours, and that choice will define everything. The hardest battle you will ever face is the one within yourself. It's the constant fight against doubt, fear, and the comfortable whispers of giving up. Those voices will try to convince you that the struggle isn't worth it, that the gap between where you are and where you want to be is too wide to cross. But every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Every refusal to quit is a testament to your strength. The moment you decide to stand firm in your purpose, you build an unbreakable foundation. That foundation will carry you through the darkest nights and the toughest storms. Your mindset is the most powerful weapon you have. It shapes how you interpret every challenge, every setback, and every success. If you choose to see obstacles as insurmountable walls, they will be. But if you see them as stepping stones, as opportunities to grow, you create a pathway to the life you desire. It all starts with a decision. What story will you tell yourself today? Will you tell a story of limitation or of limitless potential? You hold the pen. Your thoughts are the ink. Write a story that fuels your rise, not your retreat. The fear of failure often traps us in a cycle of inaction. We convince ourselves that it's safer not to try, that it's better to avoid risk than face disappointment. But the truth is, failure is not the enemy. It's the teacher. Every time you fall, you learn. Every mistake you make reveals what doesn't work, bringing you closer to what will. Growth demands that you become comfortable with being uncomfortable. It asks you to lean into the lessons hidden in failure, to let them strengthen rather than shatter you. When you embrace failure, you stop fearing it. And that's when real progress begins. Action is the antidote to fear. It's the bridge that turns dreams into reality. Waiting for confidence to appear before you act as a trap. Confidence is built by acting despite the fear. The courage you seek isn't given, it's earned through movement. Start where you are with what you have. Take that first step, then the next, then the next. Momentum will build, and with it, your belief in yourself. Soon, you won't just hope for change, you will live it. Your environment shapes your mindset and your habits more than you realize. Wait. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, who push you to be better, who believe in your potential even when you don't. Distance yourself from negativity that drains your energy and undermines your confidence. Build a circle that fuels your growth and reflects the future you want. Your tribe can either hold you back or propel you forward. Choose wisely. Remember, the choice to rise above your circumstances is not a one-time event. It's a daily commitment, a promise you make to yourself every morning. Some days will be easier. Others will test your resolve. But each day you keep that promise, you take one more step away from limitations and one step closer to freedom. You are not defined by your past. You are defined by the courage you show today. Keep going. Your future self is waiting. Every moment you hesitate is a moment you surrender to doubt. It's easy to blame circumstances, to believe that the world owes you something because of where you started. But the truth is, the only person who truly controls your destiny is you. The power to change your life does not lie in external conditions, but in your response to them. You might not control the cards you're dealt, but you control how you play them. Choosing courage over comfort is the most radical act of freedom you can commit to. It's not about waiting for a sign. It's about becoming the sign. Your mind can either be your greatest ally or your fiercest enemy. When you allow negative thoughts to dominate, you build invisible chains around your potential. When you choose to nurture positive, growth-driven thoughts, you create wings that can carry you beyond your current reality. No, the battle for your future is won or lost in the quiet moments when no one is watching, the moments when you decide whether to push forward or fall back. Those small choices, made again and again, compound into the life you live. Choose wisely. Fear is a powerful force. It's designed to protect you from danger, but it can also paralyze you from growth. The difference lies in how you respond. Fear can be a signal to pause, to prepare, to plan, or it can be an excuse to stay stuck. The path to greatness demands that you feel the fear and walk through it anyway. Through it anyway. That's where transformation happens, not in the absence of fear, but in spite of it. The moment you step beyond what scares you is the moment you step into a new version of yourself. Action is your greatest tool. It breaks the spell of overwhelm and turns abstract dreams into concrete reality. You don't need perfect plans or ideal circumstances to begin. You only need one step, one decision to start. Action builds confidence. It rewires your brain to believe in possibility. And it silences the voice inside. It says, you're not ready. The journey to success is paved with imperfect steps taken consistently. Waiting for the right moment is a luxury few can afford. The right moment is now. The environment you create around yourself is not accidental. It's a reflection of what you accept as possible. If you want to rise, you must cultivate spaces and relationships that lift you higher. Surround yourself with people who challenge your limits, who encourage your dreams, and who hold you accountable. Distance yourself from those who drain your energy or diminish your worth. Your circle either fuels your ascent or feeds your stagnation. Protect your energy fiercely. Your future depends on it. Your story is not finished. It's being written every day by the choices you make, the habits you form, and the beliefs you nurture. You can choose to be defined by your past, or you can choose to redefine your future. The power is yours. Remember that dying poor, whether in money, spirit, or dreams, is a choice, not a destiny. Rise with intention. Rise with discipline. Rise with courage. The life you want is waiting on the other side of your decision. Make that decision today. Your change doesn't come from wishful thinking. It comes from relentless action, fueled by an unshakable belief that your life can be different. Every time you choose to move forward, despite uncertainty, you reinforce that belief. This belief becomes a foundation stronger than any obstacle. When you commit to change, you make a promise to yourself. A promise that no matter what the world throws at you, you will keep moving. That promise is the seed of transformation. It grows with every challenge met, every doubt faced, and every fear conquered. You don't have to wait for motivation to strike to begin. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the weather. What creates lasting change is discipline, a consistent daily decision to keep showing up for yourself. Discipline is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. It doesn't ask for inspiration or passion every day. It asks for commitment, even on days when your energy is low and the path looks unclear. That is the true power of discipline. It transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary progress. It's crucial to recognize the power of your thoughts in shaping your reality. Your mind is the soil where your future grows. If you plant seeds of doubt and negativity, that's what will flourish. But if you plant seeds of hope, courage, and determination, your future will reflect that. Choose your thoughts like you. Choose your actions deliberately, carefully, and with the intention of building a better life. The moment you control your inner dialogue, you start controlling your outer world. This is not just optimism, it's science. The brain adapts to what it focuses on. Feed it with belief, and it will seek opportunities. Feed it with fear, and it will look for reasons to quit. Fear will never disappear. It's part of being human. The key is not to eliminate fear, but to master it. To stand face to face with what scares you and decide your vision is stronger than your fear. Courage isn't about being fearless. It's about taking action despite fear. When you embrace this truth, fear becomes a signpost pointing toward where you need to grow, not a wall that blocks your way. Every step taken with courage erodes the power fear holds over you. Soon, you will realize that the chains you thought bound you were only illusions. Surrounding yourself with the right environment is essential. Energy is contagious. The people, places, and things you allow into your life will either fuel your growth or drain your spirit. Choose relationships that inspire you, challenge you, and hold you accountable. Distance yourself from negativity that keeps you trapped in old patterns. Your environment must reflect the future you're creating. Protect it like your most valuable asset, because it is. A strong, supportive environment strengthens your resolve and accelerates your progress. You are more than your circumstances, more than your history, and more than the limits others have placed on you. You hold the pen that writes your story. The choice to rise, to break free, and to build a life of abundance and purpose is yours and yours alone. Alone. Dying poor is not an inevitability. It is a choice.